While I was writing Knife, I couldn't even think about fiction. It had no space in my head. I had no space in my head for that. But almost immediately after I finished the book, I mean, before it came out, it's like this door swung open in my head and I was allowed to enter the room of fiction again. Mm. And I didn't know what I was doing quite. I mean, the story that I started working on is what turned out to be the ghost story late, which initially it wasn't even supposed to be a ghost story. About that too. And of course, the question of identity. I think maybe all of us think about, what do we amount to in the end? What did our life add up to? Was it worth it, or was it trivial and forgettable? And if you're an artist, I mean, you have the added question of, will your work survive? Not just will you survive, but will the things you make endure? Because certainly if you're my kind of writer, that's what you hope for. And it would be very disappointing to feel that they would just vanish. But I'll never know, but somebody will. So I've become more interested in the reader than I used to be. But I really love the fact that, Midnight Children is now came out in 1981, so 44, 45 years old. And it's still finding young readers, and that's very pleasing to me. That feels like a prize in itself. All right, guys, together to your right. So, together. For me, getting a column in the New York Observer was a big deal because I was a woman. To a large extent, it's why I came to live here. Because I was excited I don't know about America, but New York City was a place that excited me enormously when I first came here in my 20s, when I was still working in advertising. And I just thought, I mean, obviously it was a different city then, but I just thought, I just want to come and put myself here and see what happens. I just had an instinct that it would be good for me. And then, life intervened and I didn't do it for a long time. And then around the turn of the century, I told myself, well, if you're ever going to do it, you better do it, because otherwise, when are you going to do it?
If you're a free expression organization, if you believe in the value of free speech, then you must believe in the value of free speech that you don't like. If you only defend free speech that conforms to your own moral framework, that's what is normally called censorship.
I like being in the world, One of the things that I have often said to students when they're following the kind of write what you know mantra, I've said, yeah, write what you know, but only if what you know is really interesting. And otherwise, go find something out and write about that. I always use the example of Charles Dickens because one of the things that impresses me about Dickens is how broad the spectrum of his characters is, that he can write about all walks of life. He can write about pickpockets and archbishops with equal credibility. And that must mean that he went to find things out. And in that sense, I always thought that fiction is not that far away from journalism.